Hello and welcome. Today we are going through a ton of new lipsticks. So I have new lipsticks from Celine, from Sarah Creal, the new By Terry lipsticks, the Valentine's Day Lancome lipsticks, and the new Sisley Velvet Fit lipstick. So I decided, since all of these kind of came around the same time, let's just put them all in one video together. We're going to do arm swatches and lip swatches of all of these. So let's go ahead. We're going to start off with the Sarah Creal. So this is the packaging for the Sarah Creal. You can see that we have a soft seafoam green at the top, and then at the bottom we have not quite a satin, not quite a matte, not even exactly a satin matte finish for the gold. And this is magnetic closure, and the three new shades that I have here were gifted, and then we're also going to swatch the two that I purchased originally. And I have to say, I do really like this lipstick formula. This shade here, this first one, is called Invisible Labor. This is the only one that has any shimmer. You can see it's going to be a pale peachy nude with a little bit of shimmer in it. And this one is going to be on the warmer side, so it's going to be a warm peach. Next we have Main Character. And you can see that this one here is going to be a deep, it's almost a burgundy berry. So you've got a little bit of that berry hue in there, and not quite as much red as a true burgundy. So it's kind of like a purpley burgundy. And I think it's a really beautiful shade, very rich, almost a cassis. And then the third new shade that I have is Red versus Wade. And I have to say, this shade is a stunning red. I love this red. It's gorgeous. So let's take a look at the lip swatches and we'll talk a little bit about the details. The Sarah Creal lipstick, this formula is called Speak for Yourself. It's described as a hydrating lipstick and it retails for $50 US. We have 3.5 grams of product, and these are made in Italy. If you're not familiar with the brand Sarah Creal, it's a relatively new brand. It came out last year, and the founder is Sarah Creal, who actually was the one who started Victoria Beckham's makeup line, and she did that big collab with Victoria Beckham and Estee Lauder years back. She's also worked for Tom Ford and a variety of, well-known brands. So she came out with her own line, and it's targeted specifically at women 40 plus to really combat some of the issues you might see as your skin starts to age. So this lipstick formula came out towards the end of 2024. It's described as a creamy, high comfort, high impact lip color with lip hugging wear that keeps lips hydrated for 6+ hours. The lipsticks are cruelty-free, gluten-free, vegan, and fragrance-free. And I have to say, I think these are a fantastic formula. These are going to have a satin finish. Again, the only one with shimmer is going to be the first one, Invisible Labor. And all of the other shades in their current line are going to have a satin finish. And what I really like about these is, one, they're fragrance-free. Two, they go on very smoothly. Pigmentation is even, but there's a little bit of resistance as you're putting it on. It's not hard to apply or anything like that. It glides on smoothly, but you can tell that the formula itself has a little bit of resistance, which really helps it stay where you put it. You don't really have to worry about migration and feathering and things like that. So I think this is a fantastic formula, and I'm really happy to have these three new shades. So let me know what you think of these, and if you've tried the formula, please share your thoughts down below in the comments to kind of help everybody as they're trying to pick the right lip formula for them. Let's go ahead and swatch the other two that I have. All right, so just a quick review. We have Invisible Labor, Main Character, and Red versus Wade. And then we have SUQQU right here, which is going to be a soft nude with a little bit of rose in it. This is going to be neutral, but it leans a little warm. So it's going to be a neutral shade though, but the undertone is just slightly warm. And then we have Double Standard, which is going to be a rosier shade. And this one's gonna be a little bit cooler. And this is more of a soft rose. So Invisible Labor, Main Character, Red versus Wade, SUQQU, and Double Standard. Let's go ahead and move on to the Celine lipsticks. Towards the end of 2024, Celine launched their first lipstick. It's this same formula, but they launched just the shade number 1, which was a red. And I will link that video down below. And this is the packaging that it comes in. So you get a little Celine bag. Inside the bag is a box that you push through. And then you have a velour case. I have to say this velour case is thick. It's thicker than what we usually get. And then this is the packaging here. So it's going to be a shiny gold. We have the Celine logo on the top and Celine along the belt. And this is going to have a magnetic closure. So they have just launched, more of their permanent shades. And so I picked up 3 additional shades. We're going to go numerically, but number 9 here, this is Zuzu. This is actually going to be the deepest of the 3 new ones that I picked up. And you can see that this is going to be a berry with a little bit of fuchsia in here. It's neutral leaning cool, and you might think right away it looks pretty cool, and it does, but there is it's a little bit more neutral than your typical berry. So it's just past the neutral line into the cool section if you're looking at the undertones there. And then we have 13 La Peau New, and I have to say I keep wearing this one. This is a beautiful nude shade. We do have a little bit of a peachy vibe in here, but you can see that it is going to be relatively neutral. A lot of times we get these peachy nudes and they run warm. This one doesn't. It's pretty much smack dab neutral on the scale, maybe ever so slightly warm, but it's definitely not your traditional warmer peach. And then we have 14 Rose or Fay. And I have to say, I thought this was just going to be like a pinker version of 13, but this is really going to be more of a medium tone tea rose. So we have 9, 13, and 14. Let's take a look at these on the lips. This is the Le Rouge Celine satin lipstick. It retails for $75 US, and this is a refillable case. The refills retail for $48 US. So they've released 14 new shades. So we have a current line of 15 shades. And these lipsticks are going to be made in France, and they have 3.5 grams of product. According to Celine, the 3 key factors of this lipstick include radiance, it's long wearing, and it provides hydration. It has a satin finish texture, and according to Celine, the enveloping sensation of a light creamy formula that sheathes and structures the lips with color. So just like I talked about with the Creal lipsticks, how we have a little bit of resistance going on, that is true also of these Celine lipsticks, which I think is very important, particularly when you're working with some of those deeper shades. This is actually a really beautiful formula. It feels very luxurious going on your lips, and it has a little bit of resistance where it feels like it's not really going to shift around. Performance is nice on these. It's long wearing for a satin lipstick. There is going to be a fragrance with this, and it's fairly heavy like we see often with luxury lipsticks. And it smells like an old-fashioned powdery rose fragrance. And so it does remind me of luxury from days gone by. When I smell it, to me, it brings up, in my mind, movies from like the 50s and 60s and so forth. So it kind of has that old-fashioned glamour allure to it. And that's kind of the vibe I get when I apply this. Overall, I think it's a fantastic formula. It reminds me a little bit of the older Guerlain Rouge G formula. They have since changed the Rouge G. It has a little bit more slip now than it did once upon a time. But this kind of reminds me of the older, more original formula, just with a little bit more grip on the lips. And I think it's a really beautiful formula. So let's go ahead and swatch the original shade that also came out. So the first shade was number 1, Rouge Triomphe. And this is what they are considering their signature red. It's a really beautiful red. It looks neutral. It looks like it has a little bit of coolness in there. You can see a little bit of pink, but actually when I put this on my lips, it looks a little bit more warm. And you can see that in the original video. Again, I'll have that linked down below. So we actually have a little bit of pink and a little bit of orange kind of in this red lipstick. And it's a really pretty shade, but it's not a red that I think works for everyone. So these are the 4 Celine lipsticks. We have number 9, 13, 14, and number 1. So 9 is Zuzu, 13 is La Peau New, 14 is Rose Orphée, and 1 is Rouge Triomphe. And then again, these are the Creal up there. So I'm going to wash these off and let's go ahead and move on to the Lancome. All right, so I can tell you, some of those are hard to get off. So we're going to let my arm kind of calm down a little bit while we take a look at the Lancome. These are limited edition for Valentine's Day. And every year, Lancome comes out with some Valentine's Day lipsticks, and they typically sell out pretty quickly. I know I've gotten them in the past and it's been really, challenging to share them. So this year what we have is we have 3 different colors here, a white, a pale pink, and a red. And this is going to be kind of like a warmer red packaging. We have the push top comes out here, and this is the Intimate formula. So this first shade here is 370 Flush of Love. And this is what's on my lips right now. I love this. It's a really beautiful soft berry shade. Really pretty. So this shade here is going to be the coolest of the 3, and it's cool, but it's not too cool. You can see when it's buffed out, it's actually going to be a little bit more on the neutral side. Then we have 360 Flirting Thrills in the light pink packaging. This one's going to be slightly warmer. This is going to be a soft, warm pink. And you can see we actually have a little bit of a touch of coral in there. So it's a pink with just a touch of coral, not a true coral shade. And then 273 French Nude. And this one here is going to be another warm pink, but you can see this one's gonna be a little bit dustier. This one actually has a little bit of a soft brick red hue to it. So this one's gonna be a little bit warmer. It has a little bit more of that terracotta vibe in it. Now for reference, the caps are plastic and they just close shut like this. Let's take a look at these on the lips. So I've been thinking that these were Valentine's Day lipsticks, but these are actually for Lunar New Year. So these are the Intimate formula. They did just release their Valentine's Day lipsticks, which also have kind of a swirl pattern on the case, but it looks like it's going to be a velvet case with the swirl kind of cut through it. And those are in the Drama Matte formula. So just something to note. There are 3 shades for Valentine's Day and 3 shades for Lunar New Year. They are all limited edition shades. All retail for $35 US. We have 3.4 grams of product, and these are made in France with a 2-year shelf life. Now, the Intimate formula is more of their soft sheer matte, so it's a buildable formula. The Drama Matte for the Valentine's Day ones are going to be your more intense matte, more of your deep matte. According to Lancome, the Intimate formula has up to 12 hours of hydration. It has a soft matte finish, and it contains ceramides and grand rose extracts for comfort. 370 Flush of Love is described as a mauvey rose with a hint of purple. I would say it's slightly warmer than you might get from that description, but it's definitely going to be a fairly accurate there. 360 Flirting Thrills is described as a cozy, warm pink nude. I would say that's pretty accurate. Again, there's a touch of coral in that shade. And 273 French Nude is a perfect brownish pink nude. And I would say, again, it's more of a terracotta pink. So, definitely more of that warmer brown nude. With pink in it. So overall, I think the shades are gorgeous. This formula, I first tried it towards the end of 2024 and I absolutely love it. It is going to be a sheer matte formula that's buildable. You can feel a little bit of slip in there. There's definitely a little bit of silicone like we see in like every formula now, but it's not very slippy on the lips. So you do have a little bit of grip. And it's very comfortable. If you put on just like a layer or two, it feels like you have absolutely nothing on. And if you build it up a little bit more, you're going to feel just a little bit of a creamy texture, very thin, lightweight, creamy texture to it. I think it's an absolutely beautiful formula. And now I'm really tempted to get those Valentine's Day shades as well. I might do that. So let me know if you're interested in those. And let's go ahead and take one more look at those lipsticks. All right, so we have 370 Flush of Love. This one here is 360 Flirting Thrills. And this one is 273 French Nude. So let me just go ahead and swatch. This is the Intimate in 220 French Blush, which came out for holiday. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one right here so you can kind of see how this compares. And you can see this is going to be a warmer nude. And yeah, this is a really beautiful shade. You can see it doesn't have as much pink in it as the 273, which will be its closest shade. Just for reference, the Drama Matte, this was for holiday. This is French Touch in 196. And you can see how much deeper these shades are here. And that's one swipe there. So you can see a difference in the formula. Let's go ahead and move on to the By Terry lipsticks. So these are the By Terry Rouge Opulent lipsticks. They just came out. You can see we have kind of a textured gold case here. And then we have a By Terry logo there. And this is the lipstick. So this is going to be a velvet lipstick. And let's swatch the four that I picked up. So this first one here is one Vintage Nude. And, you know, I think we've got enough space to do the last of our lipsticks here. You can see that this is going to be a pale nude with a touch of pink and gray in it. So it's kind of like one of those soft mauvey nudes. It's going to be pretty light on the lips. And then we have two Bare Velvet, which is going to be a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer. You can see we've got more pink in here. So this one's going to lean a little bit warm. It's more of a soft, warm rose. And then we have three Sweet Romance, which is going to be a warm pink. You can see this definitely has just a little bit of orange in that pink shade there. This is going to be a warm, medium tone pink. And then we have 9 Red Couture, which is a beautiful deep red. I mean, look at that red. I think that's stunning. Let's take a look at these on the lips and talk about the formula. Now, one thing I do want to note, the box that these came in, I had the hardest time opening them. It's taped on the bottom and the top, but there's a lot of tape on the top. So just something to know, I ended up cutting mine open, but we have 3.5 grams of product in these, and they're made in Italy with an 18-month shelf life. And they retail for 49 euros or 65 US dollars. Now, according to By Terry, we have 24-hour hydration, anti-aging formula. It's a refillable lipstick. There's a creamy velvet finish, and these are smudge proof. Presented in an ornate golden mesh case, this true beauty collectible is inspired by Terry de Gunsbury's personal Art Deco collection, reminiscent of treasured jewelry worn by her mother. Rouge Opulent unveils a new chapter of elegance and sustainability with its signature magnetic refillable design, perfectly crafted as a forever keepsake. They have an exclusive complex called the Ruby Radiance Complex, which includes 50 peptides, raspberry leaf extract, and goji berry extract. And that's supposed to give you supercharged anti-aging smudge-proof formula. And this complex defines the supercharged anti-aging smudge-proof formula for long-lasting, vibrant wear. Lips appear softer and fuller with up to 24 hours of lasting hydration. We have 12 shades currently, but they will be adding more in the future. This formula is listed as a clean vegan formula, so just something to note there. Now, in my opinion, this new formula feels very similar to the new Sisley lipstick formula, which I described more as if you put down a layer of silicone and then you put a little bit of a powdery matte lipstick on top, so you can really feel that silicone on your lips first, and then you feel a little bit of the matte powder. And I would say that it does feel similar to that formula. It's a very similar description, but in comparison, I would say that the By Terry, I feel a little bit more slip with it and a little bit less powder than I do with the Sisley. So I do think though that they feel pretty similar on the lips. They both hold up really well throughout the day. And we do have a fragrance in these. Like all By Terry products, we do have a bit of a rose scent to that, but I can smell something else in here. It's probably one of the ingredients in here, but it's a little bit of a chemically scent to me. So something a little synthetic. So I think this is a very nice formula. And again, it does feel very smooth and creamy on the lips. It's pretty weightless. It's a thin formula, and you know, it doesn't feel drying at all on the lips. I don't feel as much powder as I do with the SUQQU formula, but I would say that they are pretty similar to each other. As for the claim of being smudge proof, you know, it's not a transfer proof lipstick, but it doesn't smudge on my lips. If I were to go and rub my lips, sure, then I'd have movement. But I haven't had any issues with movement that was not caused by me. So again, these are the 4 new By Terry lipsticks. We have number 1, Vintage Nude, followed by number 2, Bare Velvet, number 3, Sweet Romance, and number 9, Red Couture. So these are the 4 new ones, and just a quick reference with the Sisley. This is the red that I purchased from Sisley. This is 41 Rouge Flame. And you can see the difference. This one here, the By Terry, is going to be a little bit cooler. They're close, but this is going to be a little bit more of a blue-red in the By Terry formula. Just a couple other quick comparisons. This is 11 Beige Bloom. Let's put that one right there. You can see it's going to be warmer. It's kind of a little bit deeper than number 2. And it's a little bit warmer than that one. This one here was number 10, Beige Nude. And this is probably, let's put this one here as well. It's probably closest to number 2, which was the Bare Velvet, but it's going to be a warmer version to Bare Velvet. Bare Velvet's going to be a little bit cooler. And then 20 Rose Sweet. Let's see how that one compares. Okay, so you can see that this is going to be a little bit of a lighter, more carnation pink in the By Terry. And we have a little bit more rose in the 20 Rose Sweet. So just a few comparisons there. The other Sisley shade that I purchased doesn't really go, but let's go ahead and swatch it. It's 22 Rose Punch, and this is a vibrant berry shade. More of a pinkish berry. So I hope that was helpful. Let's go ahead and move on to the new SUQQU lipsticks. So I talked about the new SUQQU Velvet Fit lipsticks a little bit in the SUQQU Spring video. I'll leave that link down below. This is the packaging for the new Velvet Fit lipstick. So we have slim style packaging here, SUQQU logo on top, and these are refillable. So you can use the refills completely on their own, and that's what I'll be doing today to show you. We do have everything labeled down there, but it fits below the refill. So this was the first shade that they actually sent this to me in PR, so we'll go ahead and we'll put this one right here. This is 101. And let's go ahead and, you know what, we might as well start with 102, which was also limited edition. So this one here is 102. And you can see that both of these two, they have shimmer. None of the ones in the permanent line have shimmer, but these two do. You can see 101 and 102 are pretty similar in color. They both have kind of a brown base, but this one's gonna have a little bit more warmth to it, whereas 102 has a little bit more of a mauvey rose hue to it. So 101 and 102 are limited edition, but the rest of these shades that I'll be swatching here are going to be permanent. This is how the refills come. So you've got this cap. You can totally keep it like this. It's not going to, you know, it's totally fine. It's just, you know, not pretty. So this one here is number 2. And this is going to be a soft, warm beige. This one here is number 3, which is going to be a soft, peachy pink. So it's a little bit cooler. We got a little bit of pink in here, but this is still a warm shade. 6, this is one of my favorites. This is a really pretty soft pink. And this one's neutral, leaning a little bit of cool. We've got a little bit of coolness in here, maybe like a hint of blue in the base there, but it's not an overly cool tone pink. Number 9, this is a beautiful shade here. I love this. This is kind of a nice, kind of a burgundy shade with a little bit of pink. It's not like a full true burgundy. And this is going to lean cool. So we definitely have some cool undertones in here. Really beautiful. It's almost like a terracotta rose burgundy mix. And I think it's a gorgeous shade for, you know, if you want something impactful or if you want a cooler fall lip. You know, I think it's a beautiful, like, autumnal shade. And then our last one here is number 10, which is, again, going to be a deeper shade here. Really pretty. This one here is going to be a little bit more, it's a little bit more brown with a touch of a berry red in here. So we've got a little bit of purple, a little bit of red kind of mixed into a chocolate base. Let's take a look at these on the lips. So the SUQQU Velvet Fit lipsticks, you purchase the refill and the case separately, and we do a slightly different pricing depending on where you're purchasing. So I'm just going to give you the yen prices. And the Velvet Fit lipstick refill retails for 4,840 yen, while the case is 990 yen. So when I purchased these, it converted to 25 pounds for the refill and 667 pounds for the lipstick case. What I really like about these that I feel is missing with the other velvet lipsticks that we've recently looked at, like the Sisley, the By Terry, the Lancome I haven't had issues with. They do feel a little bit firmer, but any of these softer velvety matte lipsticks, you know, I feel like a slim style packaging is really ideal for them because it's such a soft formula that breakage can definitely occur over time. And you know, it probably will happen with the Lancome as well. I haven't had any long enough for that issue, but I would say that the formula on the Lancome Intimates at least definitely feels a little bit sturdier and perhaps not as soft as those in the Sisley and the By Terry and Lisa Eldridge and Givenchy and so forth. So just something to note there. So I really do like the packaging on these. It does seem a little tall for what's included. We only have 2.1 grams of product, which all of the others we've looked at have been 3.4, 3.5. These are made in Japan, like all SUQQU products. I don't smell any fragrance, nor do I see fragrance or perfume listed on the ingredients. And according to SUQQU, one stroke elevates your mood and beauty, delivering high color payoff, exceptional adhesion, and long-lasting wear. Our lipstick provides a subtle velvety sheen. We do have silicone in this formula, just like the other matte formulas we discussed here today. And I would say the difference is that both the By Terry and the Sisley formulas that I was talking about, where it feels like you have a layer of silicone and then the powder, I would say that SUQQU feels a little bit different here. I can still feel that silicone layer, but it doesn't feel as strong. It doesn't feel slippy. So these lipsticks do feel like they have a little bit more grip to it than the other two formulas that I mentioned. I think they're really comfortable on the lips and they have quite a bit of grip. So I think it's a really beautiful formula. One layer feels pretty much weightless on the lips. You can build it up a little bit more. And I think overall it's a really great formula. It's kind of a combination between our classic velvet matte lipsticks and these newer, more silicone heavy formulas. Now, although I am talking about silicone and how slippy it is, I do want to note that the first ingredient on here is dimethicone. So I'm not saying that there's less silicone in here, just that texturally it doesn't feel the same as the others. It doesn't feel as silicone forward. I would say it also doesn't feel super powdery when you put this on. It does not feel like a dry, powdery matte lipstick at all. And actually, texturally on the lips, it feels like a slightly creamier version of these Lancome Intimates. I would say it's more closely textured. I would say the texture feels more similar to that than the Sisley or By Terry formulas that we saw today. So one more time, let's take a look at the shades. We have 101 and 102, which are both limited edition with some shimmer. And then moving on, these are all permanent. We have 2, 3, 6, 9, and 10. And I have to say, I think it's a really beautiful line. The swatches online for these lipsticks they're warmer than what they look like in real life. So personally, I think they could definitely add some more cooler tones. There aren't too many cool tones in their lineup, but they're not quite as warm as the swatches appear online. It's kind of the opposite of what we usually see. So I hope all of these swatches have been helpful. Let's just sum up real quickly what we looked at today. Now, I want to say that I like all of the formulas that I shared here today. These are all items that I would repurchase. The Creal lipsticks are a fantastic fragrance-free satin formula that has a little bit of grip to your lips, and it is designed for women 40 plus to help alleviate any issues you might have with some other lipstick formulas for migration and feathering and so forth. So I think that's a really beautiful formula. Absolutely love it. And then we took a look at the Celine lipstick, and this is also a satin formula. We have a luxe gold packaging here. It's heavy duty, and it does come with luxury packaging here. It does have a similar texture on the lips to the Creal. However, this has a little bit more grip, and the formula itself, kind of gives you a whole experience with the fragrance, which is going to be more of an old-fashioned powdery floral, powdery rose type of formula. And so to me, it really embodies that classic luxury beauty age back from the 50s and 60s with the black and white movies and so forth. So that's kind of what this makes me think of. We've got some beautiful rich satins, and the formula performs very, very well. So overall, I think both of those are fantastic satin formulas. And then we took a look at some mattes, and we started off with the Lancome Into Matte lipsticks for the Lunar New Year. So yeah, let me know. I'm thinking of picking up the Valentine's Day shades as well, but the Lunar New Year shades, I really like them. Again, I have on this one right now, which is 370 Flush of Love. And that's our coolest shade, and the pink and the red packaging are going to be a little bit warmer progressively. And this is a beautiful, soft, sheer matte formula that's buildable, weightless on the lips, but it doesn't feel powdery or dry. And I find it to be really comfortable. So really happy with those. And then we branched out into new by Terry lipsticks. So this is a packaging. I have to say, the photos online, it looked like this. I was like, oh, it probably looks a lot better in person. It really does just look like the photos. I don't love the packaging. This shade of gold to me is a little chintzy. So yeah, it's a very yellow gold. And so yeah, the packaging, I think on it is okay. It's not my personal style, but the formula itself is very nice and smooth. It has a strong silicone presence on the lips. It glides on very easily. You can see there's a little bit of blurring with the lips with this formula, not a ton, but the silicone in here really does help prevent it from settling any lines. And I think we've got a really beautiful color range here. So this is a really nice formula, kind of silicone mixed with a little bit of that powdery matte texture, and it gives you a very lightweight matte look on the lips. And then we took a look at the new SUQQU Velvet Fit lipsticks, and again, these are refillable, and we've got some beautiful shades. We've got 2 limited edition shades and several permanent shades here that we took a look at, and I think this is a really nice formula that is kind of a grippy velvet matte, but it feels moisturizing on the lips. We have silicone in here to really increase the glide, prevent things from settling in the lip lines, but it doesn't feel as slippy as silicone does in some other formulas. So it definitely feels a little bit more grippy. It's very lightweight, yet buildable. So overall, I think we took a look at some really nice new lipstick formulas here, and I hope you were able to find something that you liked. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful day.